Well, good morning and thank you for being with us. It is Sunday, June 6th. We begin with breaking news overnight. One person has died in a house fire in Jefferson County. West Metro Fire Rescue responded to that call just after midnight. A neighbor saw smoke coming from the garage and called 911. When fire crews arrived, they found heavy smoke and flames with fire extending into the living area. Now, 2 people made it out safely, but a third person who was asleep upstairs didn't survive. 2 firefighters sustained minor injuries and were taken to the hospital. That fire is under investigation. Our team will have more on this throughout the day. We'll bring you the very latest once it becomes available. All right, time to switch gears right now and wish you a very good morning, Jaden Knowles, because it is going to be really hot out there today.
Yeah, that's right. Our first 90-degree day is expected as we head into this afternoon, possibly even tying or even breaking that record set back in 2018. So let's go ahead and talk about it just a tad bit. Looking over towards the eastern plains, there is a dense fog advisory that should be lifted over the next couple of hours. You'll start to see a little bit more sunshine as well. You see towards Rave, that dense fog just hanging around there as that sunrise is happening. But here across the metro area, lots of sunshine, no fog to distract us early on this morning. Temperatures already warm. I mean, look at this. It is 6:01 and our temperatures are already in the 60s. 60 degrees here in downtown Denver, 57 in Central Park, as well as down towards Centennial. And then statewide, you can see already a nice start, especially over towards the western slope. Grand Junction, you're going to see the warmest temperature today, possibly even triple digits. So looking at live radar, there's that dense fog advisory, but for the most part, we're not talking about any rain. There's a possibility for a couple of showers, but for the most part, I'm forecasting 94 degrees as the high. And of course, that record is 95 set back in 2018. Later on in the show, we'll talk about your rain chances as well as how hot it's actually going to get across the entire state. Shalima?
All right, thanks so much for that, Jaden. Turning to your other headlines, a federal judge is temporarily blocking the Trump administration from forcing states to comply with several new conditions to get federal funding for SNAP food benefits. Last night, the judge sided with Colorado and roughly 20 other Democratic states by granting a preliminary injunction. Now, the Trump administration wants to impose new restrictions related to gender ideology, immigration, and what they call fair athletic opportunities for women and girls. A lawsuit filed in March argues that they are unconstitutional and threaten critical support. The judge says he'll issue a memorandum later on. Well, Children's Hospital Colorado is asking a judge to make families suing them over gender-affirming care pay $250,000 bond. The last month, the Colorado Supreme Court ruled that the hospital must reinstate gender-affirming care for minors after halting it back in January. Now, at the time, the hospital pointed to the threat of the Trump administration pulling federal funding. The plaintiff's attorney said the hospital filed a motion asking the families to post a $250,000 bond. Now, the hospital argues it could face more than $2 million in legal and financial exposure by reinstating care.
Children's Hospital is asking these children, most of whom are on Medicaid, to pay money just to have the law enforced. In my opinion, it's shocking and morally reprehensible.
Now, in a statement to 9 News, Children said the injunction threatens the hospital with the loss of tens of millions of dollars in funding and legal expenses. They say the bond represents a fraction of those losses, and they say it in no way penalizes anyone who is seeking care. Well, a juror who sat through the trial of 2 former paramedics convicted in the death of Elijah McClain says he's shocked that they will be retried. In 2019, Aurora police stopped McClain while he was walking home unarmed from a convenience store. They threw him to the ground, handcuffed him, and restrained him there for 10 minutes before paramedics injected him with ketamine. His heart stopped and he later died. Paramedics Jeremy Cooper and Peter Chakuniak were tried together and were both convicted of criminally negligent homicide. This week, the Colorado Court of Appeals ruled that jurors were not given adequate instructions on the standard of care that they were supposed to apply during deliberations. New trials have been ordered. Barry Hubbard spent nearly a month on the jury before ultimately being selected as an alternate. He says he never felt confused about what was being asked of him.
So I didn't feel as though there was something that, I wanted to raise my hand and say, wait a minute, that makes sense. And nobody else was in that same situation. So that's what I'm really hoping to try to figure out from this is how far off were we?
Democratic Attorney General Phil Weiser says his office plans to appeal the appeals court decision. Well, when a person leaves prison, freedom is only the first step. And for many, release also means trying to rebuild a life from scratch. A new state law is aimed at helping people navigate what comes next. 9 News reporter Ria Jha has the story.
Today we should throw a little trash on the ground, huh?
Getting back on your feet can be the hardest first step.
I would pick up trash anywhere or do anything, for the opportunity to get my life back together.
For John DePici, release day was not just freedom. It was also pressure and confusion.
Getting out of prison is like jumping out of an airplane. It happens all at once, it's very fast, and there's no turning back.
This week, a new Colorado law was signed to make sure people leaving prison don't have to make that jump empty-handed.
House Bill 1256. What it offers is for each inmate returning home from prison to have their vital documents and their full $100 in gate money. And the reason that I wanted to advocate for it is because I'm actually living the problem that bill solves.
$100 and an ID may not sound like much, but John says when you're walking out with almost nothing, that little bit of support can be the difference between moving forward and going backward.
So I was in and out of prison 4 times. I got out with all the good intentions, but I went back to being a criminal, I went back to the drug use, and I went back to all the old behaviors and all the old people because it felt comfortable for me. Having those vital documents, having that money, having a little bit of stability helps that first 72 hours become manageable.
John found his footing through the Center for Employment Opportunities, an organization that helps people recently released from incarceration find work, and that's why he's picking up trash today. But he hopes this law gives others leaving prison a safer landing.
So this law, to me and for others, is hope. It's hope for an opportunity to turn a barrier into a bridge and have success in life and make a better place out of the world, one piece at a time.
Well, the law officially takes effect in 2027. Part of it requires the state to track whether people are actually getting their documents and the full $100 when they're released. Advocates say that part will be key to making sure that the support is actually being delivered.